Welcome again to the Success Portal with me, Dr. Franklin, life strategist. Today, I will be talking to you about self-sabotage and what you need to do to avoid sabotaging your efforts in life. So, what is self-sabotage? Self-sabotage is when you do something that is actually contrary to your progress. It's like, for example, if you were going to go on a long trip and you needed to fill up your car with petrol, and then you, for some reason or another, you put in diesel instead of petrol into a car that uses petrol, and you know what's going to happen. That car is not going to be able to function properly, and you're not going to reach your destination. So that's an example of a self-sabotaging act. But at a deeper level, I've also come to realize that people are performing self-sabotaging acts every day, sometimes almost habitually, unconsciously. And that's when that becomes a little bit, I don't want to say scary, but it's really disconcerting when that happens. Recently, I was going through a book by Brianna West called The Mountain Zoo. And in that book, she speaks a lot about about self-sabotage and how people sabotage their success consciously and unconsciously. And this is what has really inspired me to make this video today. So you may be asking yourself, what are the examples of self-sabotage? How could I be sabotaging myself? For example, if you want to be healthy and you told yourself, this year I'm going to exercise, I'm going to go out there and, go all the way and make sure I'm healthy and I'm fit. But on the other side, you don't take care of your nutrition and you keep ordering things like all these, like donuts, for example, and you're eating all of these donuts and you're not conscious of what you're putting into your mouth. That's an example of self-sabotage. I'm not saying I don't eat donuts. I do. That's why I've got one here. But obviously, I control the amount of sugar I get in a single day and the amount of sugar I'm putting in to my body. But if you are not conscious of what you're putting into your mouth, and on one hand, you're like, I want to eat healthy, I want to live a healthy lifestyle, you are actually self-sabotaging yourself, even unconsciously. How else could someone be sabotaging themselves? Thinking wrong thoughts, wrong meditations can lead to self-sabotage. And for me, this has been revelatory in that someone may be desiring to be prosperous, as in financially prosperous, to be wealthy, to have enough money put away for their retirement or their savings. But in their mind or deeper in their heart, they may actually have this ideation or thought process which says that being well off is not right, or being rich is not right, and it's not good, or it's not something that has happened to anyone in my family or in my generation, and I really don't think it can happen to me. I really don't think I can be a millionaire. It's something I would try, but I really don't think it's really possible. And because of that wrong or negative ideation, it will lead to self-sabotaging acts. So these type of people, even if they even if they get a six-figure job, they will find that they will always live above their means. They will take on huge amount of debt. They will also be surprised that though they're earning a six-figure salary, but they barely have savings. They barely have, if they were to lose their job, they would barely have enough just to get by. People also who want to get out of debt, they've got piles and piles of debt, they want to get out. but they constantly find themselves applying for more and more debt, more and more credit cards, taking out more and more loans. These This is also an example of a self-sabotaging act. And I know someone who was in that particular situation. They had piles and piles of debt. And I was like, you need to deal with your debt. But all they would do is just borrow money from this person, borrow from this person, borrow from this banking institution. They were just looking out for the next loan application opportunity. That is an example of a self-sabotaging act. Another one that I also came across now is even in the issue of relationships, where maybe a woman just believes that she does, because she's never seen a loving husband in a family or married to any of her siblings or any other women that she might know of, and she just believes that she does not deserve a loving husband. She does not deserve someone who will take care of her. And though she wants to marry someone, but in her mind, she's just like, it's not possible. Men cheat. And I don't really think there are men who are really faithful. And, I don't really believe it. And as a result of having that type of thought, it actually becomes a self-sabotaging prophetic act in a way, or a prophetic projection in a way into a future, such that she might marry a good guy, she might marry a good man, but somewhere along the line, he's unfaithful. And the light just comes on and says, I told you so. Men always cheat. And you knew men always cheat. This is nothing new. So this has just happened to you. And yet, this was a self-sabotaging thought that she had implanted in her mind and in her heart, that she eventually became a reality, and she lived that. Equally, for a man, if he believes that it's not possible that I would marry a beautiful lady that I'll be able to get along with, and that becomes something that you carry around with you all the time, it's not beautiful. Or maybe I'll just get someone who is abusive, or someone who is, who's going to give me a headache and all of that. And you just carry that around you. And eventually when you meet someone who is actually fit, or someone who is a perfect fit, or someone who is good for you, you might actually end up sabotaging that relationship through certain things that you might do. And that will be the end of it, because you had that negative thought and that negative belief inside of you that led to this self-sabotaging behavior. Another popular minister, actually online, I was just interested because I saw one of his posts, and he said that, and this is for people who believe in prayer, he said that your prayer can never be above your level of thinking. So he was like, if you believe in your heart, you already think in your mind that you cannot succeed. For example, if you believe that it's not possible for me to be a millionaire in my lifetime, and this is a thought that is deeply embedded in your mind, such that you think that having money is almost equal to a sin, no matter how much you pray, your prayer will not be able to break through that mindset, because that mindset becomes a stronghold to those great riches manifesting in your life. It's so powerful how we create so many limitations in our lives through our thought processes, because our thought processes can actually affect our actions subconsciously to sabotage our success. Another thing that Brianna West said in a book On the Mountain Is You is that sometimes we are overly absorbed with what people think about us, what people think about how we conduct ourselves. And what she said was really, really revelatory. And I encourage you to read Brianna West's book. There are not so many books that are self-help that I encourage people to read. But this one is a classic. This one is amazing. I actually had to go through it twice. It's that good. If you can get a hold of it, it's available on audio as an audio book on Amazon. It's available in print version as well. You can order it on Amazon. Brianna has not paid me anything to promote her book, and I'm not going to be paid anything by Amazon for promoting this book. But I just want to help you, and I gained a lot from this book. And on that point I was talking about is that Brianna says that sometimes we're too overly absorbed with what people say about us. And yet these people are not thinking about us in their homes and in their lives. They are actually thinking about themselves. But we walk away thinking, oh no, they thought this about me. They thought this about the type of shirt or the type of dress I was wearing, or they thought this about my tie or my suit or something like that. And you're so absorbed in what people think and what people are thinking in their minds. The fact of the matter is you don't know what they're thinking. And Brianna was like, they're most probably not thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves. But when you're so absorbed with what people are thinking, people are saying about you, that can lead to self-sabotaging acts. And I found that so liberating, that I realized that people probably may have thought of me of that particular moment, but they're not going around thinking about me or thinking what I'm doing or what plans I'm doing. And she was just like, just be free of what people are thinking about you, because at the end of the day, you're not living for people. You need to pursue your purpose and fulfill your own destiny. And you're not going to do that when you're overly absorbed by what people's opinions concerning your life are. Yes, people will give you constructive criticism here and there. They might give you guidance, but most of the time, they're not thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves, and you should not be overly absorbed by what people are thinking about you. Focus on yourself. Focus on getting yourself to the right destination and becoming a better person. And the last thing I also share with you from Brianna's book is that I also like this analogy that she gave, was that you can never be able to build a meaningful future while standing in the ashes of your past. What was she saying? What was she trying to say? She was saying that you can never be able to be the best you when you are holding on to the past. Because as long as you're holding on to the past, you always feel you don't deserve a bright future. And if you're carrying so much regret from the past, you can't enjoy the present. And if you can't enjoy the present, the future is just something that is just hazy out there. And that will lead to self-sabotaging acts. So she was encouraging people to let go of the past. Yeah, you made mistakes in the past, you can't change them. Let them go. And one of the other things that she said was, the past you did well to get you to where you are now. Thank the past you for where you are right now. But you need to let go of that past you that was hurt, the past you that was disappointed, because the past you cannot take you into where you need to go. The past you cannot take you into the promised land, because the past you does not have the necessary strength or the necessary tools in order to get you into your promised land. You have to let go the past you with his or her negative experiences. Obviously, you learn from them, but you're not going to be emotionally invested in those negative experiences so that you can be able to embrace the future. Another thing that she also stated was that people are afraid of the future because you don't know what's going to happen, but you need to have that faith. You need to have that trust that as you let go of your past, you embrace the future, and you need to see yourself in the future stronger, healthier, and challenging, and being successful at whatever challenge or whatever might just come your way in the future. That was quite revelatory for me. Letting go of the past, because sometimes, and I speak from my own self, is that I would get trapped in thinking about the things that happened in the past like maybe people that left me, people that didn't treat me well, negative experiences that I had in my family, negative experiences that I had in relationships, the loss of loved ones, like losing a parent, and you're so absorbed with all those tragedies, losing an aunt, an uncle, a sibling, and you're so consumed with all this grief, and you just feel like the world owes you something, that people should just be nice to you. Everyone should understand that you had so many struggles, you had to fight, you had to do this and you had to do that, and you end up carrying around that all those past experiences, and expecting the world to be nice to you. I realized that time had to come where I have been carrying all of these things from the past, and I just had to let them go and no longer use them as an excuse for where I'm at right now, and no longer use them for an excuse for any bad behavior, no longer use them for any excuse for feeling sorry for myself or not performing or not meeting the standard, but begin to embrace the future, to charge into the future with great strength. This is not discounting that I went through all of these painful things I did, but it's time to embrace the future. The past me that experienced those pains, I'm grateful to him that he was able to stand, but he cannot help me to enter the promised land. So I have to let him go because I'm entering a new phase. He's not relevant for where I'm going now. So I let him go with all his baggage and I move on. This is what I had to do. And I know it's not so easy, but it's something that you have to take. You have to make a conscious action to say, I let go of those things in the past, because the past will continue to drain you of energy in the present and will affect how effective you're going to be in the future. And that will only lead, and staying in the past and focusing on the past will be actually a self-sabotaging act. So you need to let go of the past so that you can move forward. I'm not discounting that you might have been hurt. In fact, many people have. I'm not discounting your pain that you experienced. Maybe you went through a breakup, you went through a divorce, you lost money, you were ripped off, maybe someone scammed you, maybe you were hurt emotionally, you had an emotional breakdown, something went wrong. Many things could have gone wrong in life, but the past pains, you have to learn from them. But if you camp on them, as Brianna said, you cannot build a meaningful future standing in the ashes of your past. You have to let them go. Because if you don't, you will continue to produce self-sabotaging acts so that your life will never be able to progress. You will be like that pilot who is about to take off with the plane, but suddenly switches off the engines. About to take off, but suddenly switches off the engine. So the plane will never be able to lift off. That is what self-sabotage does. And it's something that you have to be angry at. And it's something that you have to make a conscious decision to say, no more self-sabotage in my life. No more fear, because fear is another thing that can lead to self-sabotage. And there's nothing beautiful about fear. It's something you have to resist. It's something you have to reject. It's something that you have to not allow yourself to participate in anything that brings fear into your life, even if it's coming from the media, even if it's coming from negative statements and accounts from other people. Fear is something you have to discount, because that will only lead to self-sabotaging acts. And you must be free of the fear of the future. I'm no longer afraid of the future. There's so much fear out there, even on TV. People now, they are afraid. I was watching the news today, and there's war between Iran and Israel. People are afraid of a third world war that is brewing. And I want to tell you, you need not fear. You need not fear. You need not fear. Don't sabotage your future. Wars have been around. So many things have been around. There might be another pandemic coming, but you're not going to be fearful of that. You need to move forward with your life so that you can fulfill your God-given destiny. So stop self-sabotaging yourself through negativity and through fear. Thank you so much for listening to me. I know this was an unconventional video, a bit long, but it's something that's so close to my heart. This whole issue of self-sabotage has been something that has been speaking to me quite strongly. And please remember to give me a like. If you like this video, leave a comment. Please subscribe to this channel, share this content with your friends, and I encourage you again to get Brianna West's book. And I'm sure, I am very, very sure it will challenge you and it will change your life. And thank you. Till next time, goodbye.